How's it going, traders? Feeling a bit boxed in right now. Price action's closing in on me. I'm one with the charts. Anyways, today I traded NVDA. It was really clean, good price action, great predictability, and high volume, right? So it was in play. You could tell it was in play. And I want to use it as an opportunity to discuss some items. The first is intraday levels, the importance of the daily chart, but also the hourly chart and how that can become relevant on certain types of gaps. Next, I want to talk about some setups that I saw, ones I took, ones I didn't take. And then I'm going to talk about the importance of having a good entry. Sometimes a late entry can really screw you over. Saw that today in one of my trades. And then finally, intraday levels. When price forms a top or a bottom, support or resistance, how that can become relevant later on in the day. Okay, so NVIDIA, gap up over the 200 daily moving average. That's a big move in a longer time frame, right? And it was obviously continuation from the earnings beat here on Friday, which was kind of lackluster, to be honest with you. It faded, then it caught a little bounce at around noon, I believe, we called in the chat room. I was kind of disappointed in that move. But anyways, we gapped up, we continued, and it was really strong. Pre-market looked great. So first thing I did was I came to find levels, right? Now, when you gap up on the daily chart like this, I personally believe that there's no point in going further back than this area, because we haven't cleared this and this, right? So if you're gonna go back and find levels from last year or last quarter and stuff, I don't think it's relevant personally. That's my opinion. What I do is I find areas that are recent, right? So I go to the left. First off the daily chart. This is a good area, right? Where we had formed this bottom and this top from the daily chart. This is a good pivot point. That's a good pivot point. And I doubt we would have reached here 179. So that was basically off the daily chart. Then I went to the hourly chart, right? So switch to the hourly chart and I go left. I go left and try to find the first point where price was last touched this. Okay, so what do we find? Well, we find a bunch of areas here, right? From late July. Let's zoom in here. Zoom in. Well, that level from the daily chart actually just coincides with this wick. So that's a good point there. I liked this. I liked this, right? Where the buyers had stepped up previously. So now I have my areas. Now let's go take a look on the 15-minute chart. In retrospect, what do we have? Well, we have high pre-market, 165. That was this. Okay, so that's relevant. Where do we bounce from at the open? When we had the initial profit taking, right? People obviously sold and then it got bought back up pretty damn quick, right? That happened here at 163.50. That one we got from the daily chart, I believe, right? This area here. That's where the buyer stepped up. Right, and then we had the high of the day, which was 171 right at the close, 171.50. That again came from the hourly chart, which was this bottom dip buy here, right? So that's how I like to use the hourly chart in conjunction with certain types of gaps. If we had gapped over like this pivot or down here, then obviously I'm looking further back, right? But in this case, I don't feel a need to go any further back. I want to look at this cluster here. Okay, enough about that. Let's talk about the different setups that we saw. Okay, so right at the open, this was so strong. At the open, we dipped, we bounced off that level that we found, got over the high of pre-market, and then we had this pullback. This was a gift, guys. When something breaks resistance like that, comes back to test and holds, that is a very bullish indicator that that's prior resistance became support, right? So this would have been a good entry with a stop here. Off you go. I missed that move. I missed this first bounce and this move. The price action was just too crazy for me. I think a lot of people in the room missed the move despite how clean it was. And then we kind of get to this 945 area. A lot of profit taking started happening, right? Let's go take a look at the 2-minute chart here, right? We had a shooting star. This is dangerous to short, guys. The stock was so strong that it's really tough to short off this signal this early on in the day. If you did on the pull-up, you probably would have got a 2-to-1 before getting out here. That's okay. This was an ABCD type of trend continuation. That was pretty good here, right? Put your stop here, long here, 2-to-1. I think it was this area. And then we got this shooting star, so double top. I think someone in the room did call a double top. And again, it's really difficult to short this stock. What I was waiting for was a retest of this VWAP area to go long, basically, right? Because sometimes ABCDs, they don't always just do this off to the moon. Sometimes they will do this, come back to test, and then break out. Sometimes they'll do this, right? And then each retest is higher and higher. Well, what do you know? That's an ascending triangle, right? This was just a classic retest, and that's where I went long. Basically, after I seen this candle, this was a nice candle signifying indecision, right? So I took it long off this little 2-minute pullback here, and I was out for 2 to 1 before the high of the day, which is what I wanted to see, because I was afraid that I was going to do a triple type of maneuver, but I was wrong there. I got up my 2 to 1 and bailed. And then we get to, I believe, around 11:15. Now this is, I start looking for reversals at around 10:30, but on a really strong stocks, you got to wait a little bit later, just because everyone's buying these dips, right? These pullbacks are getting bought up pretty quickly. So what did I see? Well, I saw that on the 5-minute chart we had a shooting star. Well, that's a pretty good indicator that there's selling pressure, right? But if you shorted it here, you would have got stopped out, right? You got wicked out, which is kind of shitty. But it came right back down. So you have a double shooting star. This is a double rejection, right? On the smaller time frame, I bet that's probably a double top of some sort. Well, no, not on the 2-minute chart. But what happened to me, I got a late entry. Well, not a late entry. I got a bad entry is what it is. I should have waited for this pull up. So my entry was 168.85. My stop was 169.30. So my 2 to 1 was actually would have been down here at 168. That kind of stinks, right? It's a pretty far move to ask for. If I had waited for this pull up here, my entry would be 169, same stop, and my 2 to 1 would have been here, right? So I was late by 15 cents, and therefore I was looking for 40 more cents of a move, right? When you miss an entry like that, it's not 1 to 1. It's not like I have to wait an extra 15-cent move. No, because your stop is further away, right? Sit there and do the math. If you miss an entry by 10 cents, what are you going to have to, how much further does the price need to go? I encourage you guys to do the math on your own. It's not just 10 cents or 20 cents, right? It's more than that. Anyways, so once I saw that on the lower time frame that we were holding here at 168.40, I said to myself, okay, anyone who shorted this is probably bailing now, right? They're hitting their 2 to 1s. That's where we see all this buying. And there's obviously dip buyers as well, right? So I just bailed at break even here. I said there's no point holding on until high of the day. This was the move. I missed the move, right? And then we pulled up again, broke high of the day, and we did another double rejection, a tweezer on the 2-minute chart, right? Nice double shooting star. This time I was smart. I waited for the pull up, got a great entry right below low of the day. I think my stop was only, I'll say 25 cents, right? And I got out for 2 to 1 right before noon when it kind of just went sideways and was kind of untradeable, really. So those are my first 3 plays, right? 2R here, break even here, and then 2R here. Cool. Now I want to talk about intraday levels, right? So the importance of intraday levels. I came back at the close. Well, actually, first let's talk about this setup I didn't take. I was telling Eamon about this. I was telling people in the room about this. I wanted to short here. This shooting star was nice, right? I wanted to see what was going to happen. I was telling people in the chat room, let's see what happens in the next 12 minutes, right? So then it broke, stopped people out, and then dumped again, right? That's a double rejection. Even though the candle doesn't look like that, maybe on a 10-minute chart or 9-minute chart or something, it would be a double shooting star again, right? Double rejection. I wanted to short and put my stop here. I would have caught a nice 2 to 1 move, but whatever. I wasn't at the station. I missed that. And then I started seeing it, coming back to the close here, I started seeing it pulling back in a nice controlled manner, not a hard dump or anything like that, right? And I ended up buying a downtrend, basically, right? The moving averages were pointing down. The price was going lower and lower and lower and lower. I bought this downtrend. What did I see? Well, I saw double hammers, okay? Double hammers. That's a really good sign. But normally, when you're in a downtrend, any type of pullback like that usually results in this, right? It's a reverse ABCD, if you want to call it. It's a continuation. What did I see here that made me take it? Well, let's talk about intraday levels, right? I drew this line here, basically, right across. So let's look at the 5-minute chart, probably a little more clear. I looked at any prior points where price bounced. So I saw that this was a level area here, right? Basically, you want to merge these two. Tested here, tested here. So what's going to happen? Probably going to test here again, right? And I ended up being right there. Caught a pop, out for 2 to 1 within a matter of minutes. But I missed a huge move, right? This was the huge move. Look at this. Pop, 50% retracement, and then off into the close, into the sunset. Very strong. Anyways, that's those are the 4 trades on NVIDIA. 3 winners, 1 break even. Hope you guys found that helpful. But just take a look at. Anyway, I fucked up the end. I'm not going to redo them. Thanks for watching.